Doosan on FS1. Champions out of the East, the Atlanta Braves against the champions for the 6th consecutive season out of the National League West. The Dodgers rode the long ball to the 6-0 win in Game 1 last night. Peterson and Muncy both went deep, and now Freeman and the Braves will try to respond here in Game 2. And we are thrilled that you're with us for it. We say welcome inside. Joe Davis with John Smoltz. You know, the Dodgers shocked a lot of people by going with Hyun-Jin Ryu in Game 1 instead of Clayton Kershaw, or Ryu really good, the 7 shutout innings. They now get Kershaw in Game 2. And he's been effective, John. He's just doing it differently than he used to.
Yeah, well, that speaks to the depth, too, to their rotation. For Kershaw to go Game 2, and you speak about him doing it differently. Look, he wasn't a max effort guy before, but he had 95 in his arsenal. Look at the numbers and the Cooperstown bound for sure. This guy's the best pitcher in our generation. And because he wasn't a max effort guy, he can adjust on the fly and pitch differently. This is what we used to see. Fastball on plane, 95 miles an hour with a good curveball and a good slider. He would attack hitters to both sides of the plate. Well, he knows how to pitch, and the usage is going to go down because he doesn't have 95. Some injuries and basically less inning use is going to make him be a different pitcher. So what we're going to see tonight is we're going to see more combination of breaking balls, sliders, and curveballs, pitching to both sides of the plate and using that finesse as a weapon. He throws strikes, he knows how to pitch, and it's, even though it's not what it once was, he's pretty darn good. And oh, by the way, yeah, they've won 9 of his last 11 postseason games.
Which is what you want from a guy who's trying to pitch you to a 2-0 series lead. He'll try to do it against this Atlanta Braves team that is a year ahead of schedule by just about everybody's plan. They win the East, but they cruise to winning the East. They win it by 8 games, and while they've kind of taken their time getting in now, the offense has gone cold at the wrong time.
Well, timing is everything in baseball, and as you mentioned, they didn't have any stress on them the last 11 days of the season. And you can't turn it on and off, and right now the offense is off, and they got to find some guys and some heroes in the lineup in order to make this a happy flight back to Atlanta. They're going to have to get runners on in scoring position because that's what they were really good at during the year. But because they're facing great pitching, that's going to be a tougher task. They have to play an almost perfect game against this Dodger pitching, who has been very good of late.
In the postseason for the first time since 2013, facing the Dodgers, trying to get to the championship series for the 3rd consecutive year. They did it how they've done it all season last night with the long balls. And now the Braves try to bounce back against the best of the generation in Clayton Kershaw. First pitch from Los Angeles coming up on FS1. back on the NLDS, presented by Doosan and FS1. Let's take a look at the Atlanta Braves lineup for Game 2 with the youngsters at the top and Acuna Jr. and Camargo. Then the veterans 3, 4, and 5, Freeman, Markakis, and Suzuki. The young guy in Albies, then Inciarte and Culberson, with Anibal Sanchez making the start for the Braves. And for more on Sanchez, down to Tom Verducci.
Well, thanks. The Dodgers face a unique challenge. Sanchez this year has thrown pitches at speeds at every number between 62 and 94 miles per hour, the biggest range in baseball. At the bottom of that range is a changeup. It's so good it's got its own name, La Mariposa, the butterfly. It's as hard to hit as it is to catch a butterfly with your hands. Now, he doesn't throw it often, but when he does, batters hit just 088, 5 singles all year. For more on the Dodgers Game 2 starter, here's Ken Rosenthal.
Tom, for too long, the Dodgers asked Clayton Kershaw to carry too much of a burden in October. Their decision to start him in Game 2 instead of Game 1 was not a slap. It was designed to allow him to be the best he can be. The 2 games carry equal significance, but this way, Kershaw will pitch on 5 days rest instead of 4, something he has done with greater frequency this season and impressive results.
You put it all together, Kenny's got a 2.73 earned run average this year, which is his highest since 2010. That's because he set such an impossibly high bar for himself. It is still, though, one of the top 5 earned run averages in the National League.
He's been unbelievable, and he's a model of consistency. To your point, I don't think anybody could live up to what he did in the heyday of ridiculously low ERA and nobody getting hits. So it's the postseason. We're used to it. We're just not used to him not pitching Game 1. That's why it's kind of a story.
Now the Dodgers taking Game 1 6-0. Looking for a 3rd consecutive trip to the National League Championship Series. And the Braves back in the postseason for the first time since 2013. Off we go with a bullet to left center field. And the rookie Acuna bangs a double off the wall to start the night with a bang. They went all of last night without an extra base hit, and on the first pitch tonight, the likely rookie of the year in the National League connects on one.
Well, he's been unbelievable in the second half, but they've all cooled off, and certainly the trademark of the Atlanta Braves is get them early, and when you like a pitch, swing at it. And they're an aggressive team on the first pitch. The game plan was unbelievably executed by Ryu, and you could sense they were a little bit not in awe of what they were about to be part of, but they got their Game 1 under their belt. See if the offense can wake up.
From a 20-year-old and Acuna Jr. to the 24-year-old Johan Camargo. Kershaw's first pitch to him is slapped foul.
See, now in these situations, a veteran team, which they don't have, the Braves are not pretty much a veteran team, it will be so important for them to get the runner over and create a run, to feel like they've checked in, to get things going. Because yesterday they only had 2 opportunities with a runner on second, and one of them was in the ninth.
Camargo 0 for 4 in Game 1 last night. And on this 0-1 pitch, he bounces one back to the mound. Kershaw with a nice play for the first out, but Camargo is able to advance Acuna.
The only way you get to third base, obviously besides speed, is reacting as soon as the ball's hit. And that's an aggressive approach out of Acuna to get to third, because you run the risk when the ball's hit like this, you got a chance to be thrown out. But getting an out is more important for Kershaw, as he recognizes limit the damage, don't put a crooked number up there. And now the best hitter for the Braves is up, Freddie Freeman. Doesn't matter if it's left or right-handed on the mound.
Yeah, one of the best in baseball, lefty on lefty. 29-year-old in his 8th year as an everyday big leaguer. With the infield pulled in for the Dodgers. On the first pitch, Freeman slaps it foul.
And if you're Clayton Kershaw, you've had a lot of experience facing Freddie Freeman. And early in those days when we talked about the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, he threw a lot of those to Freddie Freeman. Lately, he'll be thinking down, trying to get Freddie to follow the ball down. And that first pitch foul ball will be followed with probably an array of sliders down in the zone to create a ground ball with the infield in.
0-1 up with a fastball, and it's 1 ball 1 strike.
See, that's where Freddie's discipline. He rarely swings up against a left-hander. Unique approach to hitting with the way that he finishes, the two hands on the bat and choked up.
Kershaw deals him 1-1. Freeman tries to lay off and does to get ahead, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Let's see, that's where you got to try to get the hitter's eyes to go. Follow the ball like it might be a fastball. And this is amazing hold on the check swing. Don't know. I'm telling you, when you're on the mound, you think everybody goes.
And a third with 1 out. Here's a 2-1. Stopped by Grandal, 3-1. On Freeman. The Braves last in the postseason in 2013. In the offseason after that, Freddie Freeman signed the long extension. 8 years, $135 million. Thinking, of course, that they'd keep doing what they've done in the previous couple decades, keep winning. 4 consecutive losing seasons after that. That's it on the ground, and Hernandez spears it on a bounce. Acuna still at third, 2 gone.
Well, proved to be the right decision so far. I was a little surprised the infield's in with the offense the Dodgers could throw at you. But by playing it in, it prevented this run from scoring. And now it'll rely on a 2-out hit by Markakis, who, much like Freeman, doesn't mind facing left-handers, especially if the ball stays inner half of the plate. Really good inner half. Got to get him to chase away.
34-year-old all-star for the first time here in his 13th year. Each of the first 3 Braves have swung at the first pitch. Markakis takes this one, and it's 1-0. You mentioned the Braves, the most aggressive team in baseball this year on the first pitch. Clayton Kershaw throws the first pitch for a strike more than anybody.
Yeah, that's a trademark of his, because once you get to 2 strikes, for the whole point of pitching, he dominates, getting ahead of hitters and putting them away late.
He lets the 1-0 fly. Markakis swings and misses, a ball and a strike. Now here's the reason. First 2 pitches against Clayton Kershaw, opponents are hitting 360, but when he gets after that, that average drops down to 162.
Yeah, that's like what they say, eating out of your hand. I mean, that's the whole goal of pitching, is to pitch ahead and then let your stuff do the rest.
Runner at third, 2 gone. 1-1. Cracked foul, strike 2.
This would be an incredible job by Clayton after the leadoff double and then a runner on third with 1 out to keep the Braves from touching home plate.
Acuna started the inning with a double. He's at third with 2 gone. Here's the 1-2. Got it in the hands, and we'll do it again.
And with Clayton, pretty much a control guy, so you don't think it's going to come into play. But Acuna, with Turner way off the bag, can get a huge lead that anything in the dirt at all that gets away 3 to 5 feet. That's what Acuna is trying to figure out. If that lead and the pitch happens, try and steal a run.
On another 1-2. Markakis fouls it with a protective swing to stay alive, and it stays at a ball and 2 strikes. Sixth pitch of the at-bat coming from Markakis. One of the hardest players in the National League to strike out. Not a whole lot of swing and miss in his bat. 1-2. Kershaw drops a curve to get him and get out of the first inning jam. Braves unable to take advantage of the leadoff double. Anibal Sanchez to the mound, trying to help the Braves even this series at a game apiece. Top offense in the National League this year at just under 4.9 runs per game. Same guys as last night. A little bit different order with Yasiel Puig moving into the 5 spot. Hernandez 7th. Grandal slides down and bats 8th for Dave Roberts. Against Anibal Sanchez, who over the last 3 seasons, at least the previous 3, had the worst earned run average in baseball. Where the Braves signed him during spring training. That 2.83 ERA is one of the best in the NL.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. Signed 1 week left in spring training, and then has become a very important part of the rotation. Veteran guy helping everybody else. He will change speeds with the best of them. Work both sides of the plate with a fastball, cutter, sinker, curveball, split change. There it is. And an occasional changeup that Tom Verducci talked about is, I'd say, almost unhittable.
Yeah, pretty darn close to it. It has been the last couple months for the 34-year-old out of Venezuela. He's ready to bring a 1-1 to Jack Peterson. Peterson swings and misses at that split again.
That's going to be a huge pitch tonight, because what the Dodgers do well is command the strike zone, and they're thinking this is a fastball. And when it comes out of his hand and dips away, that recognition or that depth is going to create a little more uncomfortableness for this power-heavy lineup.
2-2. Didn't take long for him to show that power last night. Jack Peterson setting the tone with a leadoff homer. 9th time this season Peterson started a game with a home run. Seeing Hernandez also went deep in that 6-0 win. Tonight they begin with a bouncing ball that gets inside the bag and past Freddie Freeman. Jack Peterson starts tonight with a double.
I don't know that Peterson could have done this a year and a half ago. He's made tremendous adjustments of getting the bat to the ball and not swinging so wildly, and every swing a home run. So now both clubs have started with a double. The Braves could not cash it in. And the Dodgers, their turn to get an early lead.
You mentioned during the top of the first inning, the Braves, that's been one of their strengths, hitting with runners in scoring position. Not the case for the Dodgers, who have been very home run reliant for much of the year. Justin Turner, though, one of the best they have in these situations. Strike one.
So the struggle here is for Sanchez. You would love for Turner to ground the ball or pull the ball to the left side so it doesn't advance the runner. But that's one of Turner's strengths. Inner half, fastball, hunts the fastball. You got a small window of success to get him to swing off the plate low. One of the best at timing the pitcher. Doesn't matter how hard he throws it.
On an 0-1, Turner takes ball one.
That's the area, but you got to entice him and get him in a defensive count to get him to chase that, because much like everybody in their lineup, they pretty much have a great sense of the strike zone. They walk a lot, they hit a lot of homers, therefore they have a lot of traffic on the bases.
Caught the inside corner. Suzuki was unable to squeeze it, but Lance Barksdale calls it strike two. It kind of works hand in hand, those home runs and walks you're talking about. Here's the umpiring crew with Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, at first base tonight. The #1 in the National League in both those categories. On a 1-2, Turner takes in the dirt for ball two.
And this is what makes Turner so tough. You know, 291 with 2 strikes. You never see that. I think the league average is below 200 easily for 2 strikes. You could understand why, but Turner doesn't expose himself to overswinging and that leg kick, which I would have hated, by the way, facing. Is a great timing mechanism, and his hands stay back and he can hit off speed as well.
Diving stop by Freddie Freeman to save a run. He'll take it to the bag for the first out, and Peterson advances to third.
Tremendous play here by Freddie, known for his defense as well. Great piece of hitting, knowing that they're at least going to get the runner over and possibly could drive him in with that. Freddie Freeman has saved a run. Now, Manny Machado has had a lot of experience off of Annabelle and 3 home runs sitting on deck. So it's not like you got a lot of options to pitch around in this lineup. Max Muncy, one of the best at not swinging at balls.
The man at third and 1 out. He fouls it back, strike one. Their player resume sponsored by Indeed.com, and showed off some of those things last night. Smoltzy with a home run and 3 walks in his 4 times up there.
He swung the bat twice.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Out of what, 14 pitches?
Infield pulled in for the Braves. Worked for the Dodgers in the top of this inning. That is a foul ball, and it's 0-2. He's already swung it as many times as he did all of last night.
He did, and that he got Annabelle got away with that because that's the sweet zone. Middle to middle in is his crush zone. So now what you've got to do is you've got to go further in. See how that pitch leaked on the inner half? It's not a horrible pitch, but it just happens to be what he loves. And driving it foul, now you have to either back foot something or drop that split over the middle of the plate. There was the changeup. That was the 20-mile-an-hour difference between fastball. You can see Muncy give a little whoof. A little eephus changeup. He was already strident and just getting a piece of it, spoiling that pitch.
With Peterson at third and 1 gone here in a scoreless first inning.
And what I say, make it seem like when you throw this split, if he chooses a split, it has to be over the middle of the plate, but down.
That misses away over the fastball, and it's 1-2.
And the reason I say middle of the plate is because now he's going to recognize it out of the hand as something that might be a strike. When a guy's disciplined and doesn't expose the inner or outer part where you can go to, you've got to, as a pitcher, make it look as best you can as a strike.
The 1-2. Went up with a fastball. 2-2.
One good thing about Annabelle, he won't be fazed by anything. He's been through it all, been in big games before, so right guy for the Braves under the circumstances, down 1 game.
Here it comes to the 2-2, and Muncy strikes out on a high fastball. A big second out on Sanchez, his first strikeout of the night.
One of those rare swings and misses over the top part of the zone. It slowed him down a couple times, and he got it away. That was way better than getting the ball middle to middle in. And now it'll be up to Manny Machado. As I mentioned, great success against Annabelle Sanchez over the past few years.
Dodgers traded for him during the All-Star break, and he has had a career season when you put it all together, but a whole lot better in Baltimore than he's been since joining the Dodgers. The man at 3rd and 2 gone, coming inside and missing with ball 1. Here are those numbers you were talking about against Anibal Sanchez. First home run that he hit with the Dodgers came in Atlanta against Sanchez. The reason they acquired him is because that man, Corey Seager, was lost for the season with Tommy John surgery early. Machado takes inside, ball 2.
And this is your unofficial kind of pitch around, not care if you walk him type at bat, because every pitcher knows when a guy's had his number. It's not hard to figure that out, especially when he's had damage.
2-0. Brian Snitker, 42nd year in the Braves organization. First as a minor league player. Finally getting his opportunity to manage on a 3-0 pitch. Machado swings away and crushes a ball to left. It is gone. On a 3-0, he attacks and gives the Dodgers the lead.
To be honest, I'm pretty surprised about the pitch selection here when a guy's had that kind of damage. It's not the worst of pitches, but you had to feel like he was going to be swinging. And the first 3 pitches were nowhere close, and I thought once it got 3-0, the 4th would be nowhere close. But again, speaking to the tremendous power that this lineup can do, 1 through 9. Manny, rough game yesterday. Not so much first week.
And so 2-0 here in the first as Puig comes up and takes ball 1. And the Dodgers, 9 players with 20 or more home runs this season. One of them, and Manny Machado, opens the scoring here in the first.
And those are backbreakers for the opposing team. 2-out RBIs are huge. They're huge in the regular season. They're mammoth in the postseason because you almost wiggled yourself out of giving up a run. And you pitch the guy that has hurt you the most carefully until that 4th pitch.
Puig pops it up on the infield. It's Camargo. He's got it, and the inning is over. But with 2 gone and on a 3-0 pitch, Manny Machado crushes a home run to give the Dodgers the lead. The NLDS on FS1 is presented by Doosan, official partner of Major League Baseball, and is sponsored by T-Mobile. Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile has you covered. And by Indeed, the world's #1 job site. 2-0 Dodgers on a Manny Machado home run. His first one in the postseason since he was a rookie in Baltimore back in 2012. Now Clayton Kershaw back to work. It's ball 1 on Kurt Suzuki.
Well, Clayton knows the most important inning he'll pitch all night is the inning after his team scores runs. That is called the shutdown inning, and every pitcher knows that you want to get back in the dugout with a 0 on the board.
1-1. He missed almost all of May this year with biceps tendonitis. It was back when the Dodgers were 10 games below 500. Worst start for the Dodgers since moving to LA. That's a soft bouncing ball to Justin Turner at third. Throws out his old Cal State Fullerton teammate Suzuki for the first out.
Well, and we talk about, and probably will throughout the game, that Clayton has a different kind of set of toolbox, but still the goal of a pitcher is to limit how hard they hit the ball, and he still gives up soft exit velocity on average throughout the year. So he's doing something that most guys, when they lose a little bit of their fastball in today's game, won't be able to do because they don't have the luxury of knowing what Kershaw knows and the ability to pitch.
In the first inning, with heavier fastball usage than we've seen from Kershaw much of this season. Comes downhill to Ozzie Albies and misses the outside corner, ball 1. Albies, a 21-year-old who was an all-star with a monster first half, but has fallen off since the break. Pops this one up. Hernandez. 2 out.
See, that's a perfect example. You got a crowd, Albies, and throw the ball up. So it doesn't matter that it's 95. He hit his spot, and he gets the result he wants. When you see what your scouting report is, when you watch video and you see the information, then it's all up to the pitcher to execute. Every hitter has a weak spot. Some have a little bit more than the others. And that's why pitching still matters. It's not all about the velocity, although we get caught up in it. This game has more velocity than we've ever seen before.
2 up, 2 down in the second, and here's Ender Inciarte. Now Kershaw in his 11th major league season. 3 times he's won the Cy Young, not since 2014. There's a fly ball to center field. He continues to evolve and continues to be effective. He's got a 1-2-3 second on 6 pitches and has a 2-0 lead in game 2. 7 of the 8 runs the Dodgers have scored in this series have come off homers. 2 tonight from Manny Machado's long ball. And now Cody Bellinger takes strike 1 from Anibal Sanchez. Reigning Rookie of the Year in the National League. National League rookie record 39 homers last year. Not quite that this season. Hitting 25 in his second year. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I got to give him a lot of credit because miserable postseason last year. Started off over in the carryover and the effect. And the middle part of the season, he turned it around. He's been working hard with Turner Ward and making adjustments in this game.
He's ahead 2-1. StatCast AI powered by Amazon Web Services. He started to use the whole field a little bit better this year. Braves continue to put the overshift on him as he waits on a 2-1 and rips and misses 2-2.
See, that's the area that they exposed in the postseason. There and up. Very tall seat kind of approach, and then he tries to get to that pitch, which he did for the first part of his rookie campaign. He was crushing it, and then pitchers made the adjustment later on.
Able to stay alive. In the World Series last year, Johnny was 4 for 28. Struck out in 17 of those 28 at-bats.
Yeah, he just looked lost. He lost his confidence. He lost his mechanics. And when that happens at that time, there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to go. And you're talking about elite pitching anyways at the top of the game. And so they exposed it. Like I said, every year is a year of adjustment for players.
He's worked it full.
And that's why it's impossible to forecast that every young breakout player that comes into the game is going to set that mark every year and attain it. That just is not possible. We only see a few guys that can do that year in and year out.
Bellinger has a leadoff walk. And as Kike Hernandez comes to the plate, we go down to Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, some people with the Dodgers tell Kike Hernandez he's like a poor man's Javier Baez. Same type of aggressive hitter, same type of elite defender. But when President of Baseball Operations Andrew Friedman mentions that comparison to Hernandez, Kike fires back only half in jest. Baez gets to play every day. Manny Machado and Justin Turner are the Dodgers' only position players who play regularly, but Hernandez is rapidly approaching that status in large part because of his improvement against right-handed pitching.
Yeah, Kenny, and he told us, or Dave Roberts told us before the game today, that Kike Hernandez at this point is probably an everyday player for however long this October run is for the Dodgers. That's with a man at first and nobody out in the second, and fouls back the first one. Hit a home run last night. Hit 21 of them, new career high during the regular season.
He's like 2 different hitters. When nobody's on, he can go to launch mode. 18 solo home runs. When runners are on and he needs to put the ball in play and drive in that runner, he becomes that kind of guy for Dave Roberts. And the second half, he caught fire average-wise. The home run numbers came in the first half.
Cracks his bat on a flare that Albies will put away. 1 gone.
And a good job for him running that ball out, because Albies could have backed up and turned 2 if Kike Hernandez did not right out of the gate start running. Like right now, he knows that's a possibility, and to prevent that from happening, he had to turn on the boosters.
So Anibal Sanchez has done when he's been right this year. A lot of soft contact. Here's Grandal with 1 on and 1 out. There goes Bellinger. Throw down from Suzuki, not even close to in time. Now the Braves, one of the best defensive teams in baseball this year, but the one spot where they struggle defensively is defending the running game.
Yeah, and that's on Anibal because it takes a long time. You have a hip turn, leg kick, and you're talking about one of the fastest sprint speed guys on the team, and that's Bellinger, who can play center, who can play the outfield, and of course first base. So taking advantage of what the other team gives you is important in our game.
0-1 on Grandal. Lays off, ball 1.
And that's why I'm still perplexed in the game as a whole, why we have denounced, not literally, but almost, the running game. why stolen bases are not part of our game anymore, because it's not in the analytical formula. And that if you take that part away, you've eliminated stress for the pitcher. And at the time that you need it the most to create runs, you basically don't use it.
I know, as pitchers, there's some of those lineups early on in the 1990s that you'd face running all over the place. In a lot of ways, that's more of a pain to face than a power hitting lineup.
Absolutely, because what people don't understand that are pushing these numbers, the effect it has at the guy at the plate. Because now you're not in position to throw your best pitch or concentrate on that only, and you end up making a worse pitch trying to defend the run, and the hitter benefits.
1-2. Grandal flies one foul ground third base side. And Camargo's got it. 2 gone.
Number 22.
And so Sanchez with another chance to get out of the inning as Kershaw comes up. And one of Kershaw's best starts this year came against Atlanta, and that was not just in how he pitched, but in how he hit. In fact, when he faced the Braves in Atlanta in July, he reached all 4 times with a hit and 3 walks. First time a pitcher had done that since Mike Leake did it 8 years ago. Suzuki gets crossed up. 1-0.
Wow, and it would have been a strike too. How he caught that. You can do it the other way. You can expect fastball and maybe have a chance, but he's expecting breaking ball. Look at this, and then just the fact that he caught it.
Yeah.
They're going to give Bellinger third if he wants it. It's a huge lead. They're not really protecting him. I would anticipate he's going to go to third at some point. With Kershaw at the plate, even though we just talked about getting on base, you like your chances of facing a pitcher than a position player on this great lineup.
Here's a 2-0, and Kershaw takes for a strike. 2-1. Ball Sanchez. It's fouled off, and it's 2-2.
When you think about this series coming in and the anticipation of what would the Braves be like, what kind of series was it going to be? When you're a team favored like the Dodgers, you need to create pressure every chance you can and flex your muscles, and that's what they've done. And they've put the Braves on their heels. If it were reversed, you start creating more pressure for the favored team. And that's when you hear people say, well, they don't have much to lose. You know, this is kind of ahead of the curve. Well, that's not what the players on the Braves are thinking.
Nope. Full count on Kershaw. The pitching coach, Chuck Hernandez. A lot of trips out there for him and Brian Sittker last night. Only a couple innings from Mike Foltynewicz. Bullpen had to go 6 innings in game 1. On a 3-2, Kershaw slaps it foul and will do it again.
And the other thing that's under the radar, if you ask casual fans who had the second best ERA in the National League, I don't know that many people would have guessed who would be the Atlanta Braves. Everyone knows that the Dodgers are armed and ready and have shown that over the last couple of years, but that's exactly where the Braves were. Pitched way above their expectation, and finding a lot of young arms along the way is only going to serve them well for the future.
7 pitch to Clayton Kershaw, and there will be an 8th.
Well, he's accomplished his goal. If he's much like a lot of pitchers, the goal is obviously to get a hit, but if you can't get a hit, make the opposing pitcher work as hard as he possibly can for carryover effect, or if nothing else, drive the pitch count up. This would be pitch number 9, right?
Number 8.
Number 8
coming up. Strike 3 called on a generous inside corner that Kershaw will not argue because he knows he'd like to have that spot as the night goes on. 8-9-1 coming up for the Braves, and that means Acuna Jr. and a 2-0 game to the third in Los Angeles. On a first inning homer from Manny Machado, the Dodgers lead at 2-0, and Charlie Culberson gets ready to lead off. Starting shortstop for the Braves in this division series with Dansby Swanson out with a hand injury. And that is nothing new for him, getting plugged into duty because of injury. In fact, last year with the Dodgers, when Corey Seager went down for the National League Championship, it was Culberson that stepped in, and he was great. 455 against the Cubs, 5 extra base hits. After he played in just 2 regular season games for the Dodgers, and he goes over to Atlanta in that trade that brought Matt Kemp to the Dodgers. And Brian Snitker says he could make an argument that he's been their MVP.
He's done a nice job filling in at multiple positions, a lot of key hits early. Clayton knows in the National League, the 8th spot, especially in the postseason, is such a huge out to get, because then you prevent the pitcher from being able to sacrifice, more than likely running a runner over to second.
Culberson bounces it foul, and it stays at 1-2.
So in theory, you get the 8th guy out, you know you got 2 outs for the most part, because then the pitcher comes to the plate and then you deal with the top of the order. Boys to beg that 8th hitter get a hit. Oh man, so I could.
Another 1-2. Culberson bounces one to Turner. 1 out. You can't bunt, John. You got to swing away now.
Got to swing away now. Which, on the flip side, you got nothing to lose when you swing away, so you just might as well go for home runs every swing. That's kind of what I did.
Yeah. No bigger, go home.
What is going on here?
If you want to see the best highlights, graphics, and captions, follow @MLB on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Only cost me $100 for that guy to wear that jersey.
That's it?
That's it.
Strike one. Weird English on that ball. Hernandez sizes it up and throws him out. 2 gone. And back to the top of the order, and Ronald Acuna Jr., who doubled on the first pitch of the game. Boy, this guy has been incredible. Injected so much life into the Braves, so much energy when he made his debut in late April. He's hit 8 leadoff home runs this season to set a Braves record. Had 5 straight games in August where he went deep. And since he was moved into the leadoff role for the second half, he's been one of the best players in baseball.
Really amazing. And he's savvy enough to know that he waited to give his starting pitcher the time to get to the dugout, catch his breath, and more than likely allow him to take a pitch if he needed to, which
He really does.
he does. But look at that. He did. He knows. So the Braves offense has a lot of one-pitch outs, but a lot of one-pitch success when they are able to get the pitch they want. So it's kind of the push and pull of what they've seen lately.
Lifts a fly ball to deep left field that sends Peterson back. He just missed it off the end of the bat. And Kershaw with another lightning quick inning. 9 pitches, middle 3, 2-0. Jock Peterson starts the 3rd for the Dodgers and takes strike 1 from Anibal Sanchez. Peterson started the game for the Dodgers with a double, came in to score on Machado's homer. Sanchez in his 13th major league season. First year in Atlanta. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's easy to forget, but this guy won an ERA title in Detroit 2013. He was above average the next year still. But then over the next 3 seasons had the worst ERA in baseball. That have been low, and it's 2-1. Signed a minor league contract with the Braves after the Twins released him during spring training this year. And you know, the Braves didn't sign him thinking he'd be a top of the rotation type guy. They just wanted depth. Thought he could maybe be a long relief guy. There's a bouncing ball to the shortstop Culberson. And Peterson's the first out. But where would Atlanta be without Anibal Sanchez?
Yeah, he's been awesome. You know, it's a young staff that they're developing a lot of great young arms, trying to see what the future rotation is going to look like. So they needed time to buy some innings. And all he's done has been a great asset to the young players. He loosens up the guys. He's fun, funny, and active with a lot of energy. So that combination works well when you're having some young players trying to learn on the job of what a professional pitcher looks like, and he's been a good role model. And if they'd score him any runs, he would have had a lot of wins for him this year.
Yeah, it's been a problem. Justin Turner takes a strike. Complete lack of run support for him. As far as the leadership qualities, they say that he's like another coach at this point. You can often find him in the hallway or off to the side of the clubhouse working with the young pitchers. Something that he'd like to do once his playing career is over. In an official capacity. Doxson fires the 1-1. Turner grounds it foul.
And again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but if you know how to pitch, you're going to survive in any era, and you're especially going to survive in this era where the launch angle and home runs and the just philosophy is so much different. And he works on both sides of the plate and doesn't light up the radar gun, but changes speeds, and he just knows how to pitch. And I think given the opportunities, he's provided that and leadership along the way.
1-2. Turner off the end of the bat to right for Markakis. And Tyler Flowers said that he was kind of the right-handed Hyun-Jin Ryu.
Yeah, you could see that, absolutely. And look, when teams are like the Braves trying to get to the next level, they don't have the roster that the Dodgers have. It's pretty obvious. But at some point, when they develop these players and get seasoned and get their experiences through this playoffs and maybe the next, and who knows, you start developing players at a rate where you benefit, having not gone through it at all.
Strike 1 on Max Muncy.
And they, look, Atlanta has had a head of the curve year, and they won the division pretty easy. They're running into a team that had to scratch and crawl and is playing their best baseball right now, and that is the timing of what I talk about. When you have certain matchups, especially best of 5, and you run into a hot rotation or a hot lineup, or in this case a hot team, you're going to have to play real well to be able to knock them down and move on.
Yeah, the Braves won the division by 8 games, and it was by far the biggest gap in the National League, and that's great. But then they dropped 4 of 5 to finish. Coasted in the final days. The Dodgers had to play meaningful games even to get in. That slice to left. First 1-2-3 inning of the game for Anibal Sanchez. He does it on 11 pitches against the Dodgers here in Los Angeles, who try to take a 2-0 series advantage behind Clayton Kershaw as the series gets ready to move east. Kershaw to Johan Camargo. Strike one, and away we go on the fourth.
Kershaw, like Ryu, once you get in rhythm, it's difficult to disturb the timing and the accuracy that both these pitchers have shown. And you get frustrated as a lineup because you know what you want to do, but he's making better pitches than how you're trying to accomplish and set the tone and get him out of the stretch.
A ball and 2 strikes. Freeman and Markakis to follow in this fourth for the Braves, looking for their first run of this series. Camargo hits it back to the mound. Kershaw knocks it down, recovers, and gets it.
Oh, the age-old argument. Is it faster to go head first or just keep running? Well, this ball was hit off the glove and came back towards the catcher, and a good athlete, Kershaw, makes the play, and Camargo, in his effort to try to get to first, decides to go head first. I'm not so sure it's faster.
I was going to ask. You said it's the argument. What is yours?
I think the only time you do it is when the throw is offline, if you have the ability to see that. I'll say this. It makes it tougher for the first base umpire, but with instant replay, it doesn't matter anymore. It used to be where you first base umpires listen for the thud. You know, the ball in the glove and the foot on the bag.
Freddie Freeman with one gone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Haven't they done like actual scientific tests on it, proving that it's faster to run?
Yeah, I would almost think it 100% is
science.
Faster.
Yeah. On a 1-1 pitch, Freddie Freeman cracks a ground ball gently to the right side. Justin Turner picks it up and throws him out. Kershaw's retired 11 in a row.
That is so hard for me to put down 5-3. I mean, it really is.
5-4-3. Try it. Try the at sign. Okay. This postseason, T-Mobile is again going to bat for hurricane recovery, and you can help. Every time you tweet hashtag HR4HR, T-Mobile will donate another $1 to Team Rubicon.
That's now 11 in a row after the leadoff double. And tiny excitement out of the Braves, anticipating maybe they can get that first run. Kershaw was able to keep it and extend the streak of no runs.
2 gone for Markakis, and it's not just these 2 games like we were touching on earlier, and it's not just these last 2 weeks. The Braves during the first half were one of the top offensive teams in the National League, but more around league average since the All-Star break. Now 0-1. Markakis hits another soft bouncing ball that will roll foul. Now then at 2. Markakis is one of the guys that had the huge first half, and then the numbers created in the second half. With him, you have to wonder, with him not getting a single day off this year, how much that had to do with it. One of 2 players in the National League that started all 162 games, and he went from leading the National League batting race through the beginning of August to one of the top 10 averages in the National League over the final 2 months.
Yeah, and you just wonder. I mean, the depth of the Braves is not obviously as good as the Dodgers, and how much of that was personal desire and ability to want to finish that job and play in every game versus what ended up being a little tired.
0-2. Fly to left. Jock Peterson, and since the leadoff double, 12 in a row retired by Kershaw. Manny Machado's first playoff game as a Dodger was not a good one. He went 0 for 4, struck out 3 times. But tonight, as the Dodgers in front with a first-inning home run, goes after the first pitch here and hits a weak bouncer to Charlie Culberson. 1 pitch, 1 out, and down to Tom Verducci.
Well, the Dodgers like Anibal Sanchez's experience in this spot, but he made a mistake to Machado in the first inning that he has never made before. 2 outs, 2 bases open, and a guy who's had his number. You can quibble with the pitch, a cutter, but it's obvious the location is a mistake. Sanchez has been pitching 13 years in the big leagues. That's the first time he's allowed a home run on a 3-0 pitch. The location of that pitch was a rookie mistake by a veteran pitcher.
His first one to Puig is hit foul.
Yeah, the whole at bat, he was showing pretty much everybody he was going to pitch around him. And the fourth pitch, I'm sure he tried to get it even further away and get kind of that same swing he got right there in a ground ball. But
base hit to left for Puig. Hustling out of the box, will throw on the brakes. One on, one out. Cody Bellinger comes up, and Machado's home run. I mean, it's already an incredible night. You get to come to a postseason game, then you catch a home run, and by the way, it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Donovan. Can it get any better?
I don't think so.
Wow. And nice play, Donovan. Ball was hit hard.
We talked about the running game and the ability to take bases off of Sanchez. That's why it's so important. Obviously, with 1 out, it's a lot better than nobody out. Keeping those guys off the base.
It foul
without a slide step, and you see him pick up his leg, and he's got a small hip turn. That's just his mechanical checkpoint. Without a slide step, you're able to get a huge jump, and it doesn't matter what the catcher arm is like. It's just too big of a jump when you time it right as a base runner. You watch that foot and hip.
There goes Puig. Bellinger fouling it. 0-2. That's been a problem throughout Anibal's career. In this season, 16 of the 20 attempted steals have been successful. Not going to get any help from his battery mate either. Kurt Suzuki, while he's the better with the 2 options offensively, rates among the worst defensively at the position. We get first with 1 out. There's an 0-2 that Bellinger lifts in the air to left center field. Acuna.
I'll tell you the other thing we don't see anymore, and it would be an absolute great time to do it here. Never see a pitch out anymore.
No.
Ever.
Here comes Hernandez.
One of the first 2 pitches, Puig's going to go. So you try to guess. Back in the day, you throw the pitch out, you give the catcher a great opportunity to come out of his spot and throw the runner out.
Well, you mentioned the stolen base has more or less gone away. And I guess with that, so is the pitch out. Puig goes on this first pitch, and he's stolen it easily.
That would have been a perfect time. When you know a pitcher just doesn't give the catcher an opportunity. It's just. I've heard the reason why, and I just don't agree with it. So, you know.
What is the reason you've heard?
They've got a new way of doing it. And it just doesn't compute in the analytical way of giving a pitch away. But when you know a guy's going, you're not giving a pitch away, you're getting an out.
Second stolen base of the night for the Dodgers. 5th one in this series already. It's an RBI chance for Hernandez. On this 1-0, he rips one to left on a line, and Acuna lays out and makes the catch. Ronald Acuna Jr. saves a run with a diving play.
Great jump and a great save.
On a Manny Machado first inning home run, it's 2-0 Dodgers trying to take a 2-0 series lead. Kurt Suzuki leads off the fifth, and Clayton Kershaw finds the outside corner, strike one.
Well, the Braves need a spark. It's only 2-0, but you get the sense that because of yesterday and because of what we documented with the offense, you feel like it's 10-0. They got to have something going right here and get Clayton out of the stretch somehow.
Bounce to Turner. One out. The NLDS on FS1 is presented by Doosan, official partner of Major League Baseball, and is sponsored by Old Dominion, helping the world keep promises, and by Taco Bell. Picture perfect night at Dodger Stadium with a first pitch temperature of 71 degrees. With a sellout in the ballpark where they've led at Major League Baseball in attendance 6 consecutive years. Ozzie Albies on the first pitch, fouls it off.
Well, so far in this brief postseason, it's been dominant pitching that's keeping everybody, especially the road team so far, at bay. Milwaukee took care of business in 2 games already, up 2. Houston won their first game. Dodgers looking to win their first 2 here at home.
Curve lands for a strike, 0-2. How about what's going on in Boston right now, where Alex Cora has brought Rick Porcello into the game with a 5-3 lead in the 8th. Porcello's supposed to start game 3.
I'll tell you what, some of the strategy the last couple of years, I am amazed at how and when and where.
Postseason continues tomorrow with an ALDS doubleheader on TBS. Sunday, a pair of NLDS Game 3s. First, Brewers and Rockies on MLB Network as the Brewers try to punch their ticket to the NLCS. And the Dodgers and the Braves play Game 3 from Atlanta. It's outside, and it's 1-2.
Well, the Dodgers going back to Game 7 of the World Series that they did not win, nonetheless, are working on 20 scoreless innings. In the last 20 postseason innings that they have pitched here.
4 of those came from Kershaw in relief in that 7th game. Of course, a very complicated legacy for him at this point when he's been the best regular season pitcher that this generation has seen, but postseason numbers don't quite match up to what he's done as a regular season pitcher. 7-7 with a 4.35 ERA in his career in the postseason. His 2-2 to Ozzie Albies is hit back off him, able to find it. Staggering throw gets him. He's been busy up there tonight.
Well, they're going to check on him, and he's going to probably say he's okay, but he took that one off the leg and then had a little slip to throw to first base. There's off the back of the leg, and you see the slip right there, which the only thing that concerns you if you're a Dodger fan and Dave Roberts is the lower back. Sometimes that's all it takes just to tweak that lower back, which he has had some issues, of course, in the last couple years. But the part of the leg isn't going to feel real good either.
Throws one pitch. Dave Roberts and the trainer Nathan Lucero quickly back to the dugout.
He catches that just above, almost in the lower hamstring, and he'll feel it. You watch as he follows through. A unique delivery, gets to the position, and now he's backwards, and it catches him right there.
Delivers down to Inciarte and stabs a bunt at it, strike one, and I got to imagine that's only going to tighten up on him as he goes back into the dugout and this game goes on. Not up on you.
Yeah. Nope. That might be a nice little bruise there.
On an 0-1 pitch, a curve is raked foul, and it's 0-2.
You know, it's so hard when, as a hitter, when you see that curveball to not swing at it. But that might be the best recipe for hitters when approaching that curveball. It's hard to hit.
Yeah. Oh, 2. This is low, and it's 1-2. Ender Inciarte, line to center his first time. And you're going to test Kershaw again. Tried it with a bare hand. Hernandez gets it with a bare hand, but with Inciarte's speed, he's aboard with an infield single.
Yeah, left-handed falling in the other position was going to be harder to turn around and make that play. This is why putting it in play, you never know what's going to happen, especially when you've got some speed. And now, one of the most important at bats for the Braves from a decision standpoint. With the pitcher going to be on deck, more than likely they're going to have to pinch hit. Down 2-0 if Culberson can get aboard.
And the bench for Brian Snitker is not the strength. As Culberson stands in. And a 2-0 game in the 5th. Braves trying to string it together with 2 out. Kershaw deals. Culberson takes a ball.
What's so awesome about the postseason and frustrating at the same time, in the regular season, a 2-out walk or something like that, it's no big deal. But you never know what's going to lead to it. Yesterday, the Dodgers had an 0-2 hit by pitch, 2 outs, harmless inning. Then a walk, then a 3-run homer, and virtually game over. And that's what you have to be able to do. Is you can never assume when you're a pitcher, you make every at-bat the most important at-bat. If you're a hitter, you scratch and crawl and try to extend the inning and pass the baton on, because in the postseason, attention to detail is huge and it can magnify itself in a big way.
As far as the scratching and clawing and trying to find a way, as Max Fried warms in the Atlanta bullpen, that's something Atlanta's done all season. Come from behind wins, bouncing back from rough stretches. We'll have to do it again tonight. Do it again in this series. Already down a game to nothing. And down 2-0 against Kershaw in the 5th. 1 ball and 1 strike on Charlie Culberson.
And if you're like Kershaw and you know your ex-teammate at the plate, you just don't want to leave one middle in to allow him to tie the game up. Away, not a problem, but a mistake in could be.
One and 2. 12 home runs this season. Culberson did as part of a career year. Now, the one that he hit for the Dodgers in those 2 years was to clinch the division in Vin Scully's final game at Dodger Stadium in 2016. Many of his home runs have been big ones in Atlanta this year. It's in a 1 and 2 hole against Kershaw. There it is. Bounce to short for Machado. Close play at second, but they get in Ciarte. Halfway home in game 2. The Dodgers 2, the Braves nothing. Time now for the Budweiser game summary. Anibal Sanchez has been really good with a 1 mistake. A 2-run home run for Manny Machado on a 3-0 pitch in the first inning. That's the difference. Clayton Kershaw has given up just 2 base runners over his 5. Now Manny Grandal looks at strike 1.
I mean, if you think about it, the Braves have made 3 mistakes. And they were early in yesterday's 2 mistakes, and then tonight. And that sets the tone, right? That puts you in a position where after an 0-2 home run and an 0-2 hit batsman, you're down 4-0 and you never really muster anything. And then 2 outs, 3-0 pitch.
Grandal, high drive, forget about this one. Way up into the pavilion for a leadoff solo home run. And the beat goes on for these Dodgers. Right in the long ball again. They lead at 3-0. Home runs were the biggest issue for Sanchez in recent years. He had gotten that under control this season, but he's given up 2 of them through 4+ tonight.
And what's interesting, coming into the strengths of each team had the opposite strengths to combat that. The Braves pitchers had done a great job of keeping the ball in the yard all year. So it was one of the best at keeping the ball in the yard against the best at hitting it out of the yard. And so far, it's been the Dodgers who have flexed their muscles.
They've done it on a 3-0 count with Machado's, and then they get it on a 2-0 count for Grandal.
What separates the Dodgers from the rest of baseball when you think about the 3 true outcomes is they hunt but don't expand. Other teams and other players, they hunt all the time and expand. So the strikeouts, why we're setting all kinds of strikeout records, that's because most people cannot command the strike zone. Well, as a lineup, that's what the Dodgers do well.
1-2 to Kershaw is a little bit outside 2-2. And I said 2-0 for Grandal. It was an 0-2. Either way, it's 3-0. Kershaw making him work like he did his first time. Got him this time. 3rd punch out tonight for Sanchez. 1 away in the 5th.
Well, they wanted it up and they didn't get it up. And when you get the ball in the middle of the plate, this man has tremendous power. And it was absolutely a no-doubter once he hit it. Sandoval knew it. And this one was easily hit out. But you elevate that ball 4 inches, and he doesn't do that, obviously. That's where you try to get Grandal to expand the zone. Puig, a big fan of it.
And now Peterson, who has one of the 5 Dodger home runs over the first 2 games of this series. Led off game 1. One. Peterson down the line, hooking foul.
Crowding him, pitching him up and in for Peterson in his approach. He opens up that hip and tries to just launch, right? And you got to tie him up. Or get him to swing over the top of a split or a back foot slider. But when you get him uncomfortable inside, you get a chance to get him out.
Ground ball. Albie's good range, good positioning as well. 2 out. And here's Turner. Yeah, the Dodgers got off to the 16-26 start this year, which was the worst record they'd had since moving to Los Angeles in 1958. And it almost corresponds exactly, their turnaround does, with when Justin Turner was activated after breaking that wrist during spring training. He's one of those guys I've heard you talk about before, where even if he's not swinging a hot bat, his mere presence in the lineup changes everything.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And you know, adding a Machado just is icing on the cake, because Machado could carry a club by himself at times. But Turner has just been Mr. Reliable, and his influence throughout the lineup with other guys is pretty good too, because his approach is unmatched and his consistency is unmatched. So the timing of him coming back, and when he came back, he wasn't locked in. You understandable so with that wrist.
And muscles one, a little teardrop over Freeman. He was hit on the wrist by that pitch near the end of spring training. Came back in mid-May after that National League Championship Series co-MVP performance. And the Dodgers struggled without him over the first month and a half of the season. Started to turn it around when he came back. Then he went on the DL again around the All-Star break with a groin injury. But since coming back from that, he's been one of the best hitters in baseball. And it's his base hit that is going to end the night of Anibal Sanchez. Brian Snitker takes the ball from him. Couple of home runs against Sanchez in the first inning from Machado, and here in the fifth from Grandal. Back at Dodger Stadium, where tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. Max Fried into the game for Atlanta, facing Max Muncy. 2 gone in the fifth. And in the first pitch, he induces a ground ball to Charlie Culberson to finish the inning. The Dodgers extend the lead and chase Sanchez to the 6th, 3-0. Welcome back to the NLDS, presented by Doosan on FS1. Lane Adams pinch hitting out of the 9 spot, taking strike 1 from Kershaw.
Well, Kershaw's done exactly what he wants, and the game plan. Only the 8 fastballs before that pitch in the last 3 innings combined. So
he hits Adams with this 0-1 pitch.
Kershaw visibly upset, and understandably so. You never want anything to upset the flow of the game. And cruising along, and he just pulls that slider.
And what's salt in the wound is that Adams has made a total of 25 at-bats in the majors today. So he puts on a guy pinch hitting out of the 9 spot that's hardly seen any major league time this year, in front of the top of the order. Braves trying to figure it out offensively, looking for their first run of this series as Ronald Acuna can't lay off the first one. But what's it going to take for the Braves?
Well, it's stuff like this and taking advantage of mistakes. Unfortunately, there haven't been many mistakes out of Kershaw and Ryu, and that is a credit to them. You can't really do much if you're not given the opportunity of, pitches that you see, and you got to make the most of it. They just haven't seen many of them.
Chopper to third. Turner's got it. Fading away. Goes to second to get the lead runner. Back of a play by Justin Turner for the first out of the 6th.
Yeah, it was a great play. It was really the only play he had. Because of Acuna's speed, there's no chance he would have got him at first. And Braves may want to take a look at it just in case. It looks like they're not going to make any kind of review process. Great play. Good force out.
So they get Acuna, who's now at first on the fielder's choice, and here's Camargo. He's twice bounced back to Kershaw. Going away with the first pitch. Hard ground ball to short. Machado, Hernandez, double play. And 6 shutout innings for Clayton Kershaw. Nothing better than October. 4 games today. First 3 are complete. Astros winning game 1 against Cleveland. Brewers taking a 2-0 series advantage to Denver for game 3, and the Red Sox just going final, holding off the Yankees in game 1. The story here in Los Angeles has been Clayton Kershaw. The story before was that he's the game 2 starter instead of game 1. Ryu 7 shutout innings game 1. Kershaw tonight 6 shutout innings. A couple of home runs for the Dodger offense. 1 Machado, 1 Grandal. As Touki Toussaint, the rookie, comes on to pitch.
And you know what's the most amazing thing about that line score we just saw?
What's that?
1 strikeout.
Yeah.
So that tells you we tried to document how we got a different pitcher in Clayton Kershaw. But you're not taking away the word pitcher. He's still a pitcher, and he made the pitches so far tonight and got the Braves to hit it where he wanted them to hit it, therefore only 1 strikeout.
It's pop foul. And now to play. As far as the support for Kershaw tonight, on a 3-0 pitch in the first inning, Manny Machado, his first postseason home run since his rookie year with the Orioles in 2012. That made it 2-0. And Grandal with a solo shot on an 0-2 pitch against Sanchez in the 5th.
Yeah, 2 pitches and 3 runs, just similar to yesterday.
Yeah, and Toussaint shows some of what they're so excited about as he strikes out Machado. This 22-year-old, electric stuff.
Yeah, he's got long arms and a long delivery with different angles. And you just saw the change of speeds there. He's got a really good changeup. And then he just creates problems for matchups at the plate because of the style of which he pitches.
Caught up in early August for his debut, and ERA around 4 over his first 7 games. And strike 1 on Puig. Most of those coming as a starter, and that is what his future is as. But they find him a spot as a reliever here in the division series.
Yeah, the biggest thing that's changed for me over the years has been when you've got a guy like this on the mound, and you know, pitching out of the stretch. I just wish more pitchers would allow that athleticism to be out of the windup when you get a chance to pitch out of the windup. But for consistency and reducing the opportunity to have more mistakes within your windup, they kind of gone to this approach. I'm not saying that's what Touki's doing in this situation, but in general, more pitchers have that abbreviated kind of stretch-like windup.
David Price, one of the first noteworthy ones to adopt it. Then Strasburg did it. And more. Dodgers have a guy in Alex Wood, a former Brave, who ditched the windup this year too.
You can see that in the counterpart. That's what makes Kershaw so unique. His windup is a hard timing mechanism for the hitters. He's got that double pause, and he hides the ball so well. He uses that to his advantage.
Yeah, so when you do get base runners against you, there's an inherent difference. You're able to throw at the hitters.
Yeah, no doubt. I've heard some people say, if I'm coming out of the pen, I'm going to have to make most of my pitches out of the stretch, so why not stay in the stretch? I understand that.
Yeah. Well, one didn't miss by much. Puig says, okay, I'll take the walk.
Do you know from day to day what you're going to get out of Puig from a personality standpoint?
No, and that's the beautiful thing. Can't look away.
No, you cannot. He knows it's a strike. Whoops, it's not. Okay, I'll just go.
Nobody takes a pitch like Puig. Hard to make taking a pitch look fun. He pulls it off somehow. 1-on-1 out for Bellinger. A 3-0 game in the 6th. It's in the dirt and ball 1.
Well, it just seems over the last couple of years, at least from the outside looking in, you know, the hockey stat, plus and minus when you're on the ice, the good versus the bad. It seems like the plus and minuses are coming more in the plus column for Puig. You know, he'd run into outs or make crazy throws. It just seems at least that part of it has been a little different. More mature in areas.
And it's easy to forget how young he was, how new he was to this culture when he broke in with the Dodgers. He'd just come over from Cuba in his early 20s. How about this? Only David Freese among the Dodgers has played in more postseason games than Yasiel Puig.
Yeah. He definitely has an interesting way of going about it. That last pitch, he never moved from his lead. Didn't take a secondary lead, didn't do anything, just didn't move.
Dancing around now. 2-1. He's 27 now, 6th year in the majors. Set the world on fire when he broke in 2013. One of the greatest debut months the sport has ever seen. He was an all-star in his first full season, 2014, but you mentioned it, you kind of never know. And took steps back over the years after that. That included a stint in the minor leagues, where a lot of people weren't sure that he'd ever see the big leagues with the Dodgers again. That's inside and ball 3. Puig taking off now. What is he doing?
Well, just as I talked about, almost a delayed steal. He was trying to catch Suzuki off guard, and Dave Roberts has seen that before, and he's not going to be happy with it. See right there, and then he's just going to try to steal on the throw back to the pitcher.
His plus minus just took a hit.
It just took a hit, and he just kissed his former teammate on the neck.
I don't know what that does to your plus minus.
Doesn't help.
3-2 on Bellinger. Bellinger looking for his first hit of this postseason. 0 for 1 tonight with a walk. Threw an 0 for 3 with a walk in game 1. Toussaint home with a payoff, and he gets Bellinger swinging, putting bookend strikeouts on the 6th. The picture of efficiency. Clayton Kershaw tonight, 46 of 60 pitches have been strikes. And here he is taking the mound for the 7th with a 3-0 lead and going to work against Freddie Freeman, who slaps a bunt foul. The overshift on. Trying to do anything to spark something for Atlanta. That's kind of what it looks like. He just said to Grandal, why not give it a try?
Absolutely. That's the most amazing thing during the regular season that I see every day. Why not?
0-1. Fastball up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Really, we've seen Clayton Kershaw do what he's done much of the year. And that is rely on his breaking stuff. Not necessarily rely on strikeouts. A lot of soft contact. He's in there with a strike 1 and 2.
Well, and when you make your pitches to an aggressive team, you're going to have success and not many pitches thrown, right? So 63 pitches so far here into the 7th.
Freeman yanks one in the air to right. Puig paused it first. Now will come on and catch it for out number 1. 3-0 7th inning, ready to go. Sponsored by Supercuts. You know, the Braves, anybody you ask will tell you a year ahead of schedule with a very young roster. Take a look at the difference in postseason experience of the 25-man NLDS rosters for these two teams.
Yeah, and that experience only matters, like I've said before, when you put yourself in position for it to matter. If you don't play good baseball, the experience means nothing. If you don't take advantage of the things that are provided, it means nothing. And the Dodgers have done exactly that. Put pressure, and they have been playing basically for about 14 straight days a postseason baseball game. So they know what last year was like. They made the trek all the way to the World Series Game 7. They're not phased, and it's a learning experience for the Braves now. Every moment is a learning experience. Every guy, for the most part, who's never been there is going to take something from these first 2 games.
Out 2-0.
With the idea, obviously, that you're not eliminated until someone wins 3 games. So
now they've obviously run into really good pitching. Ryu last night, Kershaw tonight. But do you think that that's manifesting itself in the way the offense has performed, that lack of experience?
Oh, I definitely think it's part of it. I certainly think when your offense, and you know when your offense is not clicking, and it hasn't been for the last 15 days or so, it's hard to turn that on, especially with the quality that you're going to face in the postseason. So that's a tough task to ask when your power numbers are a little bit low and the guys are slumping at the wrong time.
Markakis rolls one softly to Kike Hernandez. 2 up and 2 down. The MLB Bat app brings every postseason moment to your favorite devices. You can catch every moment with features such as live radio broadcasts, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, stats, and plenty more. Download MLB at Bat today, your #1 app for live baseball. Back to Game 7 of the World Series. This is now 22 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings pitched. But 2 gone in the 7th. Kurt Suzuki takes a curve for strike 1. This is why they position the defense the way they do, as you see the spray chart on StatCast AI, powered by Amazon Web Services. Very pull heavy Kurt Suzuki. Although Kershaw goes away with this one and misses.
You know, I remember in '96, obviously much different situation. Expected to go to the World Series, expected to win it, where we was playing, and you run into a gamut. You're down 3 games to 1, and the next thing you know, your offense goes on a 53-3 spurt, and you think we're unstoppable, and then hit the skids and don't score anymore. You just never know in that period of time when someone's going to get hot or when it turns around or clicks.
Just hope that it doesn't happen now. Chopper to third. That's a foul ball.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example of, over the course of 162 games, you have your averages, you have your trends, you have your streaks. Well, in a best of 5, you can't afford those trends to not be where you want them to be and clicking. So you tip your hat to the pitcher last night. And unfortunately for a Braves lineup, they're maybe doing the same thing for the game's best in Clayton Kershaw.
Who rocks and deals another 1-2. Stroke to deep center field. Bellinger's there. 7 shutout innings from Clayton Kershaw. Still plenty left in the tank as we stretch in LA. Aerial coverage tonight brought to you by State Farm. Here in Los Angeles before the series shifts to Atlanta for Game 3 Sunday night. Kike Hernandez takes a strike from Tuki Toussaint. 3-0 bottom 7. Dodgers winning the opener 6-0. Same equation tonight. Great starting pitching and more home runs. Machado with a 2-run shot in the first. Grandal with a solo shot in the 5th.
It's interesting. Last night 1 through 3 did most of the damage. Didn't get anything out of the 4 through 7. Well, it was their turn tonight. Much better. 2 hits, 2 walks, a homer, and a couple RBIs. This lineup in the National League, probably along with Milwaukee and when Colorado is in Colorado.
Yeah.
But I'd say this is the deepest lineup from power to on-base percentage.
Flied behind third. Charlie Culberson with a call on the catch. Hernandez the first out of the 7. We saw Yasiel Puig get thrown out. Kind of a crazy looking delayed steal. Dave Roberts Looked very upset afterwards. In between innings, those two spending a minute or two together.
I think there's a couple things going on there. It's his actions, both from that steal and when he caught the ball and tossed it over his head back to the infield. I think would have Roberts having that conversation to say, come on.
You don't like that? You don't like the...
No.
Grandal looks at a ball. What do they say, though? The postseason ad, let the kids play?
To a point. I don't mind the emotion.
One. Kershaw to hit for himself. As Grandal looks at ball 2. Two and 2 on Grandal. With a solo home run to start the 5th. 24 of them in the regular season, more than any other catcher in the National League. And in his first career postseason home run. He's worked it full.
Speaking of Colorado down 0-2 going home and probably going. It's been an exhausting last 9 days for them.
Chopper right side, Albies. Yeah, and it's looked like it.
And you think about just even a few days ago, the teeter-totter effect of them beating the Dodgers in that playing game and what that would have done for them. They would have hosted home field. So that Dodger win set up the Dodgers really nicely as they've been playing great baseball throughout this stretch.
Kershaw to the plate. We go down to Tom Verducci.
Well, I talked with Walt Weiss, the bench coach for the Braves before the game, and he said, like, when you face a great pitcher, you must get them in the first inning before he gets locked in. They had Kershaw in the stretch after one pitch. He gets out of the inning, 2 ground balls, and then the 1 strikeout tonight. The first curveball that he throws, he gets Nick Markakis. Clayton Kershaw has won 160 games in his career, postseason included. He's never won a game with just 1 strikeout. That was the 1 strikeout, his first curveball.
A lot of soft contact since then. Only 2 hits total tonight. That leadoff double you mentioned, Tom, and then a single from Inciarte in the 5th.
I mean, there's no doubt the longer you play in this game, the longer you perform. You have to get smarter by allowing your body to know it can't do certain things. So convincing your mind is the hardest part, that your body is just not respecting the age and the moment of what you're used to do. And that's easier said than done, especially as prideful and as much as he has done for this organization as well.
And now he contributes at the plate, taking a 2-out walk. And he's only thrown 73 pitches tonight. So at this point, it would be, even with the Dodgers and as aggressive as they are, perhaps surprising the rate that he's going if he didn't get a chance to finish it.
Yeah, and he already matched his career high in the postseason with 7 innings. And, you know, you're talking about a guy that finished a lot of games and pitched over 200 innings.
That's surprising, isn't it? 19 postseason starts and he's not gone deeper than 7.
It is a little surprising, and even more so in the bulk of the work that he's done. It's been basically 5 or 6 innings that's undone.
Strike one on Jock Peterson.
You know, strange innings, the 7-run inning, were just as strange as game last year in game 5.
Yeah.
2 leads that he normally 99% would keep. So the game has a way of throwing you literally some curveballs, and he's as determined as anybody to right the ship in that department. And like we said, the team has won 9 of his last 11 postseason starts. And this could be 10 out of 12 if they finish it off.
And if the line holds here, out of his 20 postseason starts, it'd be the 10th where he gives up 2 or fewer. 0-2 0-2. Peterson digs it out, but Albies picks it off to finish the inning. To the 8th we go. The Braves trying to figure out Clayton Kershaw, who's dealt 7 shutout innings and will take the mound with a 3-0 lead in the 8th. Tonight's rewarding performance sponsored by Capital One Easy Choice. Clayton Kershaw pitching into the 8th, 7 shutout innings so far.
He's been outstanding. He's mixed it up. He's let his defense work. Been right on point even when he gets hit. He's able to get the out. Don't think for an instance there's not some competitive juices to say in a good way, okay, Ryu, did a great job. I'm going to one-up you. I'm going to let everybody know I'm still here.
Strike one on Albies. Yeah, I think it's a great point.
There's no doubt. I mean, we never talked about it, the three of us, but we always had this kind of unwritten rule: leave each guy an out. If someone threw a no-hitter, you got to reset the deck, right? But try to one-ups in a good way. Try to feed off the performance that last night Ryu provided, and that's what Kershaw's doing.
The other two, Glavine and Maddox, the big three. On a 1-1 pitch, Albies, it's a liner to short, caught by Machado. The NLDS on FS1 presented by Doosan, official partner of Major League Baseball. It's sponsored by Hankook Tire. Chase down your passion, never halfway. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Thought it was really interesting hearing Clayton Kershaw talk about the decision to start Hyun-Jin Ryu in Game 1. Well, he wouldn't come out and say that he was upset. You could tell that a competitor in him was a little bit bothered by it. He also said that he didn't think he needed to prove anything to anyone. as he comes home to enter Inciarte with a strike.
Well, that's a no-win situation because as a manager, that's what you want your player to say. But as a manager, you're going to make the best decision to try to give your team and your pitchers the best rest to be successful. So, you know, at the end of the day, game 1 and game 2 are just as important as each other.
Got to Maeda warming as Inciarte fouls it off.
Especially when game 2 starter has full rest to play in game 5 if there's a need one. You know, you can have the choice. You can pitch them both. So the Dodgers are well equipped with their front 3 guys and really 4, 5 deep. Hill.
0-2. And the second strikeout tonight for Kershaw is the second out of the 8th.
Let's not forget the new sheriff in town and Walker Buehler.
Going Sunday night in Atlanta. Pitched the Dodgers to the division title in a game 163 performance on Monday. Has been as good as anybody, rookie or not, over the final 2 months of the season. With 2 gone and the bases empty, it's the 8-hitter Charlie Culberson. Kershaw comes home and with a curve gets ahead 0-1.
Both pitchers for the Dodgers get the ball, get ready, and go. And rightfully so. Ryu was in rhythm. Looked like he's playing catch with the catcher. But Kershaw's different. He's got that unique delivery. They've called it the pause, the double leg kick, kind of up, down, then go again.
Back-to-back curves.
And that deception goes a long way with the quality pitches that he has when the hitter's at the plate.
And a sellout crowd rises. Three consecutive curveballs. Culberson took this one. It's 1-2. Saw Maeda warming, perhaps the final batter that Kershaw faces, even with the pitch count still at just 82. And the crowd sensing that. The 1-2.
I say there's no chance they take him out.
No?
None. Unless you want to fight on the mound.
I'm with you. I wouldn't want to pull him out. A 2-2. Culberson's worked it full.
All right, the chances just got a little bit.
With ball 3.
And a little emotion because, you know, Clayton realizes what's at stake. Quick outs, possibly go out in the ninth.
Here he comes with a 3-2. He strikes out Culberson. 8 shutout innings from Clayton Kershaw. Welcome back to the NLDS, presented by Doosan on FS1 at Dodger Stadium in a 3-0 game to the bottom of the 8th. The call to the bullpen, sponsored by Jim Beam. The next reliever in for Atlanta is their closer, Arodys Vizcaino, who missed much of the year with a shoulder injury. Came back in mid-September, and there was some question what role he'd be used in when he first came back, with A.J. Minter succeeding in the closer spot. Not had a chance necessarily to find out if he'll be the guy in the 9th inning, but it seems like in talking to Brian Snitker, he's ready to plug him right back into high leverage situations if they do present themselves. Here's Justin Turner. And there's a fly ball to right field. Vizcaino needs one pitch to get the first out.
He's got a big arm and a good slider, and that really is the key pitch for him, is the slider. And for the most part, the Braves are trying to find out what they have in the pen. They've done a nice job after a rocky September, and held their own here. Each guy that's come in's done a nice job, and what they're hoping is they can find a way to get a lead and really test what their bullpen is about moving forward.
Yeah, so 8 innings for the bullpen, now 8 1/3 for the bullpen in the 2 games in this series, and they've given up just 1 earned run. Biggest issue has been the offense. With 1 out, Max Muncy looks at strike 1. No balls, 2 strikes. Between innings, Dave Roberts maybe having a tough conversation there.
I think the dilemma for Roberts is you'd like to give a clean inning to Jansen, or you're going to let Kershaw steal outs, meaning as soon as somebody gets on, you bring it into bullpen.
Filthy stuff from Vizcaino. 2 up and 2 down. Manny Machado to the plate, and we look at our dynamic play of the game presented by Hankook Tire. In the first inning on a 3-0 pitch, started the scoring with a 2-run shot.
Yeah, after 3 pitches weren't even close, and 3-0 pitch. Just would like to have that one back if you're Sanchez.
Really 2 pitches, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that 3-0 to Machado, and then the 0-2 center cut fastball to Grandal.
It was 2 pitches only last night, too, and that's unfortunate for the Braves because they haven't mustered any runs to make up for those 2 pitches.
Now looking ahead to the 9th inning, either against Kershaw or Jansen. It'll be a pinch hitter, then Acuna and Camargo. So the top of the order will get 1 more shot. Kenley Jansen has not been the same guy. And typically in recent years, Jansen would come on and it was pretty much game over. The toughest season of his career, especially lately. Braves know that they're facing a closer that's been gettable, if in fact they're facing. Machado down on strikes, and Vizcaino with a lightning quick 1-2-3-8. Will it be Clayton Kershaw looking for a complete game shutout, or does Jansen come on in a 3-0 game? Oh, a sellout crowd erupted when Clayton Kershaw came out of the dugout and was ready to pitch the 9th inning, or so it appeared. But after he finished his warm-up pitches and after Tyler Flowers was announced as the pinch hitter, Dave Roberts came out of the dugout, pulled him, and Kenley Jansen will come on.
Yeah, I can see both sides of it. Of course, if you're Dave Roberts, you want to get Jansen in a game, a 3-run game, clean inning. But the fans are not happy with it. They wanted to see Clayton Kershaw possibly pitch a complete game and reward him for the work he did tonight. And he's going to say he's fine, but that's part of the deal, and he pitched an unbelievable baseball game.
On just 85 pitches. And so this has been the trend across baseball, trying to get ahead of anything, trying to get Kenley Jansen a clean inning here with some wiggle room, up 3-0.
And I would say if it was the Kenley Jansen of old, it wouldn't matter if there was a hiccup or he came in with a runner on. But in this case, just with all that he's gone through, I can see why a clean inning and getting him out there with a day off tomorrow and a 3-run lead. So
we talked about it with Kenley Jansen. He has not been the same guy this season. Most recently in game 163 on Monday, Jansen gave up back-to-back home runs. In early August, went through a heart scare, a regular heartbeat, something that he's dealt with in the past. It popped up again while the Dodgers were in Colorado. He missed 10 days, got on a medication that calmed that down. He'll still have to have a surgery on his heart once the season finishes. But since coming back from the disabled list stint, Jansen's given up 7 home runs in 17 innings and has an ERA near 6.
Well, the late life of that cutter that basically just bores in on left-handers and away from right-handers probably hasn't been as late in life that he would like. So
a couple of defensive changes for you. Taylor's in center, and Cody Bellinger replaces Max Muncy at first. Oh, with the change that the Dodgers make, Lucas Duda is sent up there by Brian Snitker and takes strike one at the top of the zone from Jansen. Duda very limited action with Atlanta after coming over from Kansas City near the end of August. He's been battling a back injury, and so he hasn't even had an at-bat since September 23rd. But slim pickings for Brian Snitker as far as the bench. Outside 1-1.
And that's really what you, when you look at the two rosters and you see what the Braves are trying to build, and they don't have the depth, obviously, that the Dodgers have, and well established, and 6 straight divisional wins for the Dodgers, but that's what the Braves are hoping to build.
Duda hits it on the ground. There's Bellinger at first, 1 gone. This postseason, T-Mobile is again going to bat for hurricane recovery, and you can help. Every time you tweet hashtag HR4HR, T-Mobile will donate another $1 to Team Rubicon. One last chance for the Braves at the top of the order with Ronald Acuna Jr. And it looked like it was going to be a different story tonight. First pitch of the game, Acuna blasted a double to left center field. The Braves were unable to bring him in, and they've only managed 1 hit since. 1-0.
Jansen at time will vary his delivery with his leg, pausing it at different points. Hard to believe, former catcher, now lockdown closer.
Opposite field, base hit for Acuna, his second of the night. And the Braves with a 9th inning base runner.
Well, a good sign for the young man who's carried him basically in the second half, cooled off of late. And just anything that the Braves could do here in the 9th, you got to feel like as they fly home to feel good about something. Scratch a run or scratch a rally. Now that Kershaw's out of the game, you got to feel like they, well, have at least a better chance from the guy that was dominating them all 8 innings.
And it gets really interesting if the switch hitting Johan Camargo can reach. Freddie Freeman would represent the tying run. Climbed the ladder and fouled it off. Strike one.
See, situations like this, of course, the game is 3 runs, so getting to second's not as important, but you can run on Jansen. And that puts a lot of pressure in tight games when he's out there on the mound. And, you know, at this point, the Dodgers are going to concede Acuna going to second if he wants to, with Bellinger kind of playing behind him, because his run means nothing.
Boy, back-to-back pitches that were up and out of the zone, but Camargo couldn't get the bat back. Fouled them both. 0-2. The 0-2 pitch. Popped up. Bellinger. 2 gone. And the Dodgers 1 out away from getting back-to-back shutouts in the postseason for the 2nd time in franchise history, and sending the Braves to their first back-to-back shutouts from an offensive perspective. An offensive slump to finish the regular season that has continued here to the division series. And in a short series, they're running out of chances. Freeman trying to keep things alive for Markakis. Ball 1.
I'm actually still surprised that Acuna's still at first base. I mean, you get to second, you get rid of the force out, and maybe, who knows, you got to get to second base.
There he goes. Freeman fouls it. Yeah, at the very least gives you a chance at that perhaps psychologically important run.
Yeah, I mean, nonetheless, just a high chopper or any play that's got to be made with the shift. I think Acuna was nervous after yesterday, missing a sign going to second base, getting thrown out.
A little gunshot. 1 ball, 1 strike on Freddie Freeman. 1 for 7 in this division series. 2-1.
All right, now he really has to go. I mean, the first baseman's almost back in the grass.
Braves trying to get the tying run to the plate against Jansen here in the 9th. He runs again on a 2-1. That's strike 2.
He could have gone to third.
Nobody covering. Grandal working his way down there. The Braves down to their final strike.
And again, I know the situation's 3, but can you imagine a 1-run game with the pressure of the shift and the opportunity to go to second, and then everybody's got to get out of position because you could just keep running and beat the catcher to third base.
Dodgers have seen that happen before in this ballpark in the postseason. A strike away from back-to-back shutouts to open the division series. The 2-2. The count goes full. And he does take third. If Freeman can reach, Nick Markakis would come up representing the tying run. The payoff pitch. The Dodgers take the first 2 from Atlanta. 6-0 in game 1. 3-0 in game 2 behind 8 shutout innings from Clayton Kershaw.
Unfortunately, it's not going to get much easier for the Braves when they get home, although getting home will be a lot better than it's been on the road. But Walker Buehler is waiting his turn. The Dodgers have played 2 perfect games, and the Braves are going to have to find a way to play their version of perfect games at home and get their crowd in it and find a way to score a run, obviously.
Plan is for Kevin Gausman to make the start. Acquired from the Baltimore Orioles at the trade deadline. He'll try to extend Atlanta's season on Sunday night and get it to a game 4. But so far it's been all Dave Roberts' squad. Back-to-back shutout wins. 6-0 and 3-0 and a 2-0 series lead for the Dodgers, trying to get back to the National League Championship Series for the 3rd consecutive year. Let's go to the studio. Kevin Burkhardt.